Hey everybody, Kyle from KyleTech live from the sewing room. So today I'll be talking about the brand new iPhone 14 Pro Max. Um, I received mine on Friday, and I figured instead of doing the usual kind of like unboxing recap video, do something a little bit different and do like a 1 day review impressions video. Because I thought that would give more information, especially like if you're on the fence about getting one, um, upgrading or swapping, and if you're still waiting, give you just a little more hype, and hopefully make that wait a little easier. So let's go into it. So, iPhone Pro, iPhone 14 Pro Max here. I got this kind of 1 terabyte. Got this kind of cool purpley color. Usually I get gold, but when I saw this, I knew I was gonna get the purple. Um, it has an interesting property where it will look slightly different color in different shades of light. So now it's a little more natural light, a little darker. Probably looks kind of like a purple gray, which is kind of cool. Instantly when I got the phone, and even now, I noticed like after you set it up, it unlocks super quickly. My wife wanted me to tell you that because when she set hers up, she noticed that, and I didn't really pay attention. Um, but she's right. So when you went to unlock your phone, you kind of got the big Face ID square in the middle of the screen. And now when you unlock your phone, it just shows like a little lock icon here, the dynamic island, and then you unlock it and you're already done. Super fast. It's a good transition because now we can talk about the dynamic island, which in my opinion is probably one of the biggest changes and awesome parts about the new iPhone 14 Pro series. This is the biggest design change since Apple introduced Face ID with the iPhone 10. Like, Jesus, feels like a million years ago. Um, Instead of being an open space where Apple put camera hardware, Apple has now transformed this into a useful area for displaying and interacting with bits and pieces of information. Um, Apple probably was going to try and it seems like eventually the direction is to throw all this hardware under the display. I will say that right now Samsung on its Z Fold 3 and 4, they do have an under display camera. And it's not that great. The resolution isn't great. It's barely passable for video calls. Excuse me. So instead of like trying to make that work right now, we have a pill-shaped cutout which expands and contracts depending on what's going on. So we'll just show a very brief demo. So open up music. Here's an example. Because right now, we're waiting for more third-party developers to update their apps. So we'll show you what's available. But I think what's available is already pretty cool. And also the background will give you a good idea of the initial size. So here's our dynamic island here. Listening to Gangnam Style, there's a blast from the past, right? So let's hit play. Obviously, I'm not trying to get copyright struck here. And you minimize it, and you see how this expanded? So now our dynamic island is showing us that there's music playing. And this also works with other apps. Imagine you're on a phone call. Oh, and see, we expanded it. All you have to do is do a little long press on it, and you get a card-like interface here. So more interactions, more fun. Right now it's only like calls and music, and it'll show you like face when you're interacting with Face ID up there, or there should be more to come, such as like Lyft or Uber, when you are calling your ride share and you're waiting for the ride, you can minimize it, and then instead of the music waves, you'll see like the Lyft icon or the Uber icon, and then like how much time left until your driver picks you up. So basically, again, it gives you information in this container area while you're doing other things. And again, it expands or contracts based on what's going on. So great use of a new human interface design from Apple to transform what was previously, again, a container just for hardware, um, to be a useful area for information consumption, which is awesome. Another thing, since we're on the front of the phone, we have an always-on display. Apple took a while to get there, but Apple's journey is one of consistent refinement and a quest for their version of perfection before they release it. And the always-on display here is no different. As you can see, it kind of looks like our lock screen. We're going to lock it. We'll show you. So it's kind of dim, but it does show you information on there. The iOS 16 lock screen does have widgets. And then let's just show, we're going to show notification really quickly so you can see that. Because the idea is, while you're using your, you're not using your phone, you get the information without interacting with your phone. That's that's what we're trying to get. So always on display, get information without using your phone. Cool. Other things that we like, that we messed around with, are the cameras. So Apple made a pretty big deal about upgrading the camera system. The main camera is now a whopping 48 megapixels, and mocking ads aside that it's not 108 megapixels, it does a pretty good job. So, I did a little bit of hiking yesterday. I took some photos. We'll place them on the screen. I'll let you decide. I did notice that colors do seem more vivid. Again, absorbing more light. It's not like to the level of other phone manufacturers post-processing. And that's not a bad thing. That's kind of like personal taste. But I was very impressed with the camera output of this phone. And also with like fall coming and the leaves changing, I'm excited to take this out and take pictures and get the pretty leaves colors and look at all the results. One thing I did notice, and I'm not sure if this existed on previous iPhones because I didn't really try. So like Apple mentioned this a little bit when they revealed the phone too. So with the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, when you go to focus on a certain area within a frame, the pixels will take in more light and emphasize it in that area. And we'll post a short video that shows kind of this effect, so you can see what we're talking about. I guess previously, like, one way to emphasize in photography, one way to like emphasize an area was to use like a portrait mode or some kind of bokeh effect. So like your area on the foreground is emphasized and the background is blurred, so you really only see what you're focusing on. With this, you see the whole frame, nothing's blurry. Some areas just happen to be a little bit brighter than others, but that's because you're telling the camera to focus on that area and more light is directed to that area, which is kind of a cool effect. And when, again, you can go out and you can take more photos and get more interesting photo results. But the preliminary with the photos is pretty cool. Battery life is also very good. I can't wait to test this out, but I was using it for a lot yesterday. Navigation, gaming, still downloading and setting up apps. I got home and then like I plugged it in and it was like at still above 20%. So that battery plus the new A16 Bionic shows that this phone can handle a heavy load. And also, my phone never got hot. Again, I was doing intensive gaming, but Apple did mention there is some sort of thermal performance layer within the phone to help disperse heat. And maybe it's placebo effect, maybe it's not. I didn't feel like my phone was hot, which is great, especially if you're doing a long gaming session or a long video making session. So kudos to Apple there. Wrap up by saying a couple of things that like Apple mentioned that I haven't been able to try out yet, I guess. One is satellite connectivity. Apple mentioned that there is for the iPhone 14 Pro and well, actually for all iPhone 14s. Um, if you don't have any signal, like you're hiking, camping, or wherever, and you need to contact emergency services, now you can do that with these new iPhones. Again, 14 and above, you can connect to use a satellite to connect to send messages to emergency services. Apple has also stated that for those emergency services that cannot receive texts, they have like a voice call, they have like a relay station. So then Apple will then call the emergency services with what's in your text, give you the GPS location, so the emergency services can find you. I think that's only going to be available in the U.S. and Canada at first, and they'll roll it out to more countries. But that's kind of a cool feature that will be coming soon. Not available now. I heard like November, so that could be like a 16.2 inclusion. Um, but I haven't been able to try that out yet. But that's kind of cool and to be excited about, and like an extra security blanket when you're hiking. Another thing I'm excited about that is not yet is the Live Activities API. Again, that's a way of taking big stacks of notifications and reducing it to one kind of persistent notification card. So, like best examples, sports game with all the score updates and period slash half updates, um, rideshare progress. If you're doing like a navigation, but like city transit or like a food ordering timeline, instead of getting like a stack of 10 updates, it's just one card on your lock screen or notifications pane. That's iOS 16.1 probably, which should be like mid October. That paired with the dynamic island is going to radically change the way you get and interact with information on your iPhone. So excited about that. Last but not least, and again, we'll just say that so we're not like talking for a zillion hours. Um, Apple's new action video camera mode. They mentioned this in their keynote, um, but there's a new action mode with the video when you capture video. So it's insane image stabilization, and it allows you to like film like action or cool like sports videos with your iPhone, and you don't need sophisticated hardware or even a gimbal. So like you can follow, like let's say skateboarding. That's a good example. So you're skateboarding and you're following your buddy on your skateboard, and they're doing like cool tricks and stuff. You're shooting the video in action mode. It's going to be stable and it's going to look like good professional quality video, and no additional hardware, just you holding your iPhone. Haven't been able to try that out yet. Should be cool. So that yeah. Oh, forgot one other thing. There's just so much, right? Um, so when you get this phone, you'll notice that there is no SIM card tray. Uh, Apple has stated that they're going to eSIM only with these new iPhones. And there are a number of reasons for that. One is security, so you can't be subject to any SIM swapping attacks. So like a thief steals your iPhone, puts like a weird SIM card in, and then gives it back. That will allow them to access, sensitive information. Can't do that anymore. Also, because there is no SIM card or SIM card tray or the components needed to interact with the SIM card or SIM card tray, that gives Apple more space to do stuff internally in the phone. Battery, camera components, modem hardware, uh, you name it. So now Apple has more space to and more leeway internally to design a better phone. Last but not least, and again, I didn't think about this until yesterday when I was at the Apple store. My wife was getting her phone set up because like the guy mentioned it. We just happened to get into a conversation about eSIMs. Um, Improved water resistance. While everything is sealed and even previous iPhones were rated at IP68 water resistance, um, still the area of the SIM card and SIM card tray was like, that's another area for water ingress. And by eliminating it, your phone is more sealed, so it can better live up to the, I want to go take videos of somebody swimming underneath in a pool without worrying about like water getting in and shorting out internal components in your phone. So better water resistance from your phone now. The rating is still the same, but one less area for water to seep in. So that's kind of cool. And when I set up my phone and my wife's phone was set up, for the most part, the transfer from physical sim to eSIM was a pretty easy and seamless one. So you should not have to worry about that. Cross your fingers. Especially now that like the big rush of like activating your iPhones is over by the time you're watching this video. Server should be less clogged, so you shouldn't really run into any issues. And you can store like a bunch of eSIMs on your phone too. So like if you're traveling abroad, you get another eSIM, or if you need like a home line and a work line on your phone, you can handle that within the parameters of eSIM. So kind of cool. That's about it. I mean, there's really a bunch of there are probably other things. And again, as we get more software updates through the iPhone or the iOS 16 life cycle, we will see more cool refinements to this device and the software. So I'm excited, and hopefully you are too. Uh, Thank you all very much for watching. Hopefully I wasn't rambling, and hopefully you find my tech opinions interesting. I like tech a lot, and hopefully that's coming through. So thank you very much for watching, and if you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, give us some comments, give us some feedback, give us some suggestions, show love, and all that fun stuff. Enjoy your brand new iPhones, or maybe, I don't know, go get one. Like, this is a great phone, and I love it. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.